Welcome back to the refuge for viewers who crave layers, subtext, and truth behind the curated image, secrets behind the stars. We live in a hyper-accelerated feed where headlines evaporate in seconds and stories get flattened into captions, yet some narratives resist being rushed. Some romances, real or imagined, breathe in the pauses, grow in the glances, and ask to be studied with patience. Tonight, we enter that quiet zone and sit with a mystery that has become the heartbeat of Turkish show business chatter. We're stepping into the magnetic, maze-like dynamic of Gökberk Yıldırım and Cemre Arda, and we're asking what so many are afraid to spell out. When the cameras stop rolling, what remains between them? Before we peel back the velvet curtain, a quick invitation to the community that values nuance and context. Make sure your subscription to Secrets Behind the Stars is active. And if you want to lift this work to an even higher tier, long-form investigations, meticulous timelines, and thoughtful analysis, the join button is how you power us. Your support buys the time required to slow down, listen, and connect the dots with care. With that, let's step into the dim light where public myth and private feeling brush shoulders, where two dazzling professionals have taught audiences to read the unsaid as if it were a language of its own. The pair whose chemistry detonated ratings and crossed borders, leads of the series that traveled under multiple titles abroad, from Vendetta to Eternal Love, has become the center of a galaxy of speculation. The central inquiry that echoes from Istanbul to Santiago is surprisingly simple. Did the fire written for their fictional alter egos travel through the lens and find a permanent address between them? Tonight on Secrets Behind the Stars, we're not parroting gossip. We are sifting through the clinks and echoes, the quiet overlaps and the deliberate silences, to see where performance stops and lived emotion begins. From their earliest table read, those who were present remember an energy that didn't need to announce itself. It hummed in a shared breath, in a rhythm that didn't feel rehearsed. Scenes flowed like water around stones. When the director called cut, their eyes seemed to linger a fraction past etiquette, and off-camera there was an ease. An unstudied comfort, that suggested old friends who had only just met. As it always does when art looks too alive, the public started to erase the line between the script and the souls inhabiting it, convincing themselves the line wasn't a line at all but a doorway. Then came that now infamous article, cautious in tone, specific in detail, outlining dimly lit dinners and quiet retreats from the city's roar. Whether every detail rings true is secondary. The mere suggestion was kindling on a dry field. The piece was translated and retranslated, clipped and recirculated, until the entire conversation ignited anew. Suddenly, every interview, every post, every micro-expression was interrogated like evidence in a case the public cannot stop prosecuting. Before we move deeper into the implications of that leak, I want to hand the floor to you, the heartbeat of Secrets Behind the Stars. Did you clock the cues before the rest of us? Did the report seal the question for you? Tap like if careful storytelling matters to you, and plant your theories in the comments. Your observations often rival the most seasoned entertainment reporters, and yes, we read them. Now to the breadcrumbs that obsessives catalog with forensic precision. A sunset in her story that mirrored the horizon line in his, same band of rose gold, same far-off freighter like a dash on the water. A ceramic coffee cup with a tiny diagonal crack that appeared on her grid, then resurfaced, weeks later, in the background of his kitchen shot. A collaborative playlist suddenly public, beginning with an obscure track they once giggled about in an old press day outtake. None of these are confessions, yet to those fluent in their symphony, they feel like winks tossed across a crowded digital room. The interview circuit inevitably followed. When asked outright about their bond, both on set and off, they danced around it with practiced grace. Warm smiles that lasted a breath longer than expected. Thick praise for teamwork and trust. Phrases like, "We found a depth of reliability that's rare," and, "What we build together is something we're proud of." No declaration, no denial. That limbo speaks louder than any yes or no, and it's exactly where speculation learns to thrive. Let's not forget the pressure cooker in which they operate. Paparazzi lie in wait hoping for one irrefutable frame. Direct messages explode with mosaics of timelines and armchair PR advice. International success vaulted them into a thinner atmosphere where every syllable has weight and every post develops a subtext. A pause becomes a headline. A caption becomes a thesis. A refusal to answer becomes the answer people insist on hearing. Now to the potential fallout, or the conspicuous absence of it. Unlike the high-octane scandals of other pairings, neither Gökberk nor Cemre is publicly attached to another partner right now, eliminating one layer of dramatics but not the stakes. Families care. Managers track optics. Brands calculate risk and timing. Production houses fret. What if private emotions, tender or tense, spill onto set and wobble the machinery? And the press, trained by decades of melodrama, can't resist phrases like secret rendezvous and undisclosed romance, turning human reality into serialized spectacle. Career calculus becomes part of the story whether they like it or not. Their shared project was an inflection point, amplifying their global recognition and branding them as headliners. If this romance is real and goes public, it could rocket their combined star power, attract globe-spanning offers, and encourage producers to chase lightning in a bottle again. On the flip side, it could trap them inside a single narrative, two actors reduced to one storyline, when both have range enough to fill libraries. That duality is the gamble of love that tries to live where storytelling and marketing converge. Quick reminder. Supporting Secrets Behind the Stars through the join button keeps us independent and thorough. If you want slow journalism in a fast world, that's how you vote for it. Back to the heartbeat. Social feeds that won't stop stirring the pot. A tagged location that appears in both timelines 2 hours apart, as if they missed each other by a whisper. A wristwatch with a distinctive face spotted in a casual rooftop selfie, then reappearing in a mirror shot posted days later. Comments under each other's posts that stay resolutely unsentimental yet glow with warmth between the lines. None of this is proof. But the puzzle grows, piece by piece, until pretending it's all coincidence feels like an act of will. There's another wrinkle that can't be ignored. Their dual interviews carry a different charge than their solo sit-downs. When they share a couch, cadences sync. They complete each other's half-built thoughts without trampling them. Laughter arrives faster. They pass the spotlight back and forth without strain. Alone, both are thoughtful and kind, but guarded. Side by side, their shoulders seem to drop. The answer becomes less rehearsed, more lived. It's not a confession. It's atmosphere. But atmosphere can be its own form of testimony when words refuse to budge. Taking the evidence as a whole, we begin to see the outline of a gentle admission that refuses the banner headline. There's enough smoke to write poetry in the air. Ask them about boundaries and they'll praise professionalism, though their eyes paint whole paragraphs. Push too hard and they answer with kindness over finality, stepping around definitive lines like they know that saying less is sometimes the bravest choice. It's the language of two people who trust that some truths don't need a microphone to exist. A warning deserves a place in this story. Fame's glare can scorch. Joy that should be held quietly becomes a public commodity with a single shutter click. Their audience deserves their art. Their hearts are not a bingeable season. They are human beings allowed to draw a circle around what belongs to them, allowed to decide when and if they let us in. Loving their work also means respecting the doors they keep closed. So, is this confirmation? In this business, certainties don't arrive as notarized statements, they assemble like mosaics. Stack the tiles yourself, a careful report of private meetings, a handful of posts that form a pattern, a shared silence that invites curiosity, interviews that let smiles hover just long enough to make the room warmer. Put together, it reads like a yes, not the yes of a publicist's decree, but the yes of two people letting the world acclimate to a quiet shift in their orbit. The aftershock is already visible. Ad campaigns lean into their synergy. Streamers haul their series back into the spotlight with their faces front and center. International blogs echo Turkish headlines. Local panels debate what is fair to ask and what is fair to hide. Fan threads split between ecstatic hope and protective caution. This is the cycle: story, reaction, counter-reaction. And right in the eye of it, Gökberk and Cemre move carefully, picking each response with the kind of precision that looks effortless and costs a lot of sleep. And if you ask us here at Secrets Behind the Stars, we are romantics who keep both feet planted. The electricity we saw on screen felt too textured to be merely choreographed. Together, they're a paradox made visible: calm and spark, sunlit tenderness and stormlit focus. They expand whatever frame they share. If they ever choose to step onto a red carpet as an acknowledged pair, timelines will short-circuit by noon. But even if they decide to keep this forever in the realm of the unspoken, an elegant, extended almost, it is already a story that will outlast cycles and seasons. Thank you for taking this deep walk through a dynamic that has reshaped the conversation around on-screen chemistry and the reality that may or may not sit behind it. You've been watching Secrets Behind the Stars. If this dive resonated with you, consider joining as a member. Your direct support fuels investigations like this and keeps the quality high. Of course, liking, commenting, and subscribing are the simple ways you help us grow, and they matter more than you think. Until next time, stay curious, stay generous, and remember, we're here to uncover the secrets behind the stars you love, and to treat them like people even when the story begs for spectacle. Now, as we close, I'll leave you with a final thought. Whatever Gökberk, Yıldırım and Cemre Arda choose, silence, openness, or something in between, they've earned the right to define the shape of their truth. We can map the edges, admire the glow, and admit what brought us here in the first place, not scandal, but wonder. That, in the end, is the real reason we keep watching, and the reason their story, spoken or not, continues to breathe.